Hey guys, welcome to Level Up. This episode with the release of Cyberpunk 2077. We should talk about what we're interested, what we're excited about, what we're not excited about, everything along the lines of Cyberpunk 27.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea on this one.
But without further ado, please comment, like, subscribe, and let's get on with it.
Damn right.
All right.
What are you most excited about for Cyberpunk 2077?
The thing I'm most excited about is the RPG element. That's what I love in games. It's the style of games I like. The RPG style of it seems really in depth. It seems like that's where the chunk of your hours are going to be. The story, maybe not so much. Maybe you'll be able to beat the main story fast if you don't do any of those side missions.
Yeah.
But that's not me.
No, I know.
That main story is going to be left, like especially the last part.
Yeah.
Will be left to the very end till everything else has been done. For me personally, that's just how I play games. I need to find everything.
All the little secrets and stuff like that. See, I know we were talking a little bit earlier before we started this video about one of your questions was, how big's the map? Because I think that's going to make a lot of difference to those explorers, like gamers like you that want to explore everything.
I agree.
If it's a small map, then it's not obviously going to take as long. Because I believe when they first announced it, that the immersion that they're going to have was like the buildings you go in Night City to and explore them. And I know now they've said that not all buildings are going to be accessible, but there's going to be parts of the game you can't access until the DLC comes out.
That's one thing I don't get about what people want, like every building accessible, this and that. Like,
what are you going to do in those rooms?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you want to make it immersive. You want to make it an immersive game. Like, you want to make it feel like you're in there.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but like, who's walking into everybody's home to sneak around? Like, I get it, but it doesn't feel like that style of game, like where you're like this mass fucking cat burglar.
I agree.
Like, that's what I think of.
Last of Us 2 you could go into like so many of the rooms and apartments, this and that, and there was nothing in them. So it kind of took you out of the game as well, because
Last of Us has that feel where everybody's dead. Like, you're going into
but I'm just saying, having that amount of stuff to look at. If there's nothing viable to get.
There's nothing in that room.
It's like, what are you going to go through?
You've wasted your
300 apartment in a building
exactly.
to get what? Nothing.
One thing.
It takes you out.
Like costume. Like I get that. Like I'm not worried about being able to go into every building or this and that. Like, people are like, there's the debate about how big the map's going to be. Yeah. I do want a big map. Like, but I get when I say I want a big map. Like, you look at the three life choices. Mm-hmm. The nomads, they're in the outskirts. Yep. That looks like a huge area.
That does.
You know what I mean? Like, they're nomads. They're going around. Yeah. Like, it looks like that could be a huge chunk. Night City, it's compact.
Yeah.
So your map size is going to be, it may look small, but the compactness of it, it's a lot of stuff inside, little like alleyways, this and that. Like, it's a huge futuristic city. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not expecting like huge, like bigger than like GTA or stuff like. I want a big map. I do.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be so big that I'm never gonna see the whole thing.
See that point like
that
right there.
Scares me about playing.
It does, because I'm gonna refer to Red Dead Redemption 2 for a second. Beautiful game, great game, lots of stuff good in it. But my issue with it was traversing took so long to do. Again, now you're dealing with like more of a GTA style game.
Yeah.
In aspects of it, a lot of things that we've learned about it, which is cool. You can drive, you can use a motorcycle, this type of thing. But still, there are times when you don't want to travel for 15 minutes in game to get to your next side mission or main mission, which, larger maps, yes, they offer more variety of environments that you're going to go to. But sometimes the travel time it becomes tedious at a time. And a game that is, like, as it's already been said, it's like 100 plus hours game. Yeah. I don't want to play a game that just evolves around traveling, which is why it's 100 plus hours. Yeah. Right?
Okay. I get your point about Red Dead Redemption. Like, I fully do. Mm-hmm. The map, now when I say this, I'm going to contradict myself. Like, the map was so big that I wasn't seeing everything.
Yes.
Like, I still don't think I've seen everything. Yeah. And I'm that type of person that looks for every little thing. Mm-hmm. But in that style, it felt right for me. For some reason, it kind of like, I want to see everything, and I still do, and it does like make me mad that I don't like that I know I'm missing stuff.
Yeah.
It makes me mad, but I give it that little leeway, I guess, in that style of game. Like, I expected it.
Well, yeah. See,
I went into it expecting it. If I didn't, I would be embarrassed.
I know. I do get what you mean. I mean, in Cyberpunk, you're going to have to drive cars, motorcycles. Where in Red Dead, you're riding on a horse, so you're not going as fast as that. But I'm just using the reference as that I don't want to spend 80 of my 100+ hours of the game just getting from mission to mission.
I agree with that. Like, I couldn't give Cyberpunk the same leeway.
Yeah.
Like, if it's that style of game, I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I don't. From what I've seen, I don't get that feeling. Like, I feel like it's, you're gonna go into your like little hidden areas or like, you know what I mean, like off the map kind of areas, and I like that's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like the map, even though I haven't seen it, from what I like see in my imagination, if you will, like
it'll be a decent size.
It will be. It'll be that size that I expect. Like, it's
obviously your different districts, like you said,
exactly.
No Man's Land, and you have the market district,
exactly, like the corporate life. Like, it's you're gonna get your different styles of maps, like 3 maps in one, or
yeah. So my question to you is, because obviously the character customization they said is pretty in depth, but even though you only get to see your hands unless you're looking at reflections, this and that, your fingernails, would be. Out of the 3, I guess, life choices or paths you take, which one would you pick? Would you be picking the nomad, the street kid, or the corpo?
Okay. Straight up a street kid. It's, you go from the bottom and you work your way up. Like, you know what I mean? It's that rags to riches story. Like, but it just feels like it's where the most interesting stuff is going to like, you're going to meet the most interesting characters. Like, nomads, like I'll play that. I'll play as nomads through one of my playthroughs. Definitely not my first. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like the corporates. I feel like it's just you're a sellout. Like, you know what I mean? It's the I feel like they make it to where the nomads are gonna like. It's gonna be like your hard version. Like, you start off with nothing. Your street kids, your medium level. Like, you get your hookups. You get your things. Like, you don't get the best, but you get your hookups.
Yeah, but with each play lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, has its pros and cons.
And cons, right? Like, I get that.
Like myself, I'm gonna obviously go for the corporate side first.
Corporate sellout.
Basically, just to see, like, hey.
Not saying anything. Please send us. Just we want to be sellouts.
But no, I'm gonna play as the corpo just because literally, it's just, to me, it was like, you get the best of the best. You have that. You don't get it, but you have that access to it, and I don't know. To me, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go that way first. Street Kids does sound like it has like the most kind of fun start prologue. But see, my wonder is I know it deals a lot with the dialogue and everything between your life choices and how your selection goes for your dialogue. But how different is each story going to actually be?
Well, that's what I'm interested in.
So that's what has me.
That's that's why I see like the street kids like. Talking about it now, like I say, like, oh, the street kids, you're going to be spending most of your time in Night City, this and that. But it's like the nomads. If you're going to have a lifestyle, like a life choice or like a character thing about like being nomads and outside the walls, like, and like the core, like it's just so much difference. Like it excites me, but it drives me nuts.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's like, how do these different life choice passes to start with affect the overall game play?
This is the type of game that makes me disappear.
Yeah.
It makes me like go MIA, and like everybody wonders what happened.
I think it's going to be a lot of people that go MIA during this for the first couple days of this game specifically. I mean, They've offered a lot, that full immersion as a thing, which is amazing. I mean, you know, you have your sex, drugs, and violence. I'm an advocate of like gore in games and stuff like that, and it looks, you know, with some of the augmentations you get, which I'm looking forward to the big blades that come out. And just,
like,
you know,
the extra spider arm thing. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to stuff like that and seeing how far and how many different like augments you can put on your body and this and that.
Speaking of augments, sorry to interrupt. Speaking of like the attachment, like the arm attachment, seeing as like it's a first-person game. How do you feel about not being like only being able to see this part of it? Like, well, just like, you know what I mean? Like,
see, I know in the menu screen you can, when you're loading your stuff up, this and that on your guy, it'll show what your character looks like. I'm hoping that, you know, you add, again, we'll just talk about the blades on the arm, we'll say that. I hope in the menu screen that when you have that, it shows that this is what your character looks like. If since you can't really see it unless you're looking at a reflection of something.
Yeah.
Like I myself personally, I mean, in Skyrim, I played it in third person.
Yeah.
Right, and it's nothing wrong. I get it. First person immerses you more into like the feeling and everything. But I enjoyed it third person because I like seeing what my character dresses like, looks like, you know, everything I put on new, the changes to him.
That's where I find myself being weird. Like, like, as we've talked about many times, I love customization. Like, I love making my character look weird.
Yes.
The only, like, Fallout game I've ever played third person is Fallout 76.
Mm-hmm.
But any other game, like this, like a first-person RPG, like Fallout, Skyrim, this and that, like, that gave you the options at least.
Yeah.
It was always in first person. But I always cared what my character looked like.
That's what I mean. It's
like it's very weird. But this game,
it's just, to me,
I don't think I'll care, but I'll still be interested in what my character looks like.
That's what I mean. To me, it's just like
it's weird.
That whole point where it's like you're getting these new augments and these new abilities and these new, like, you know, armor sets, whatever you want to call them, throughout it, and then because you're in first person, you can't really see them.
Yeah.
Now, granted, though, at the same time, the gunplay comes in, and, you know, first-person shooter games that have guns, you need to see the guns.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that a lot of these guns, and some we've seen online, do look pretty badass. Yeah. But I'm hoping, obviously, that becomes a focal point where now it's like, hey, we're going to see your hands, but they're going to be on a gun.
Yeah.
Right? So I hope the guns kind of have, like, really unique looks to them, at least, so we can look at things. Or even, you know, some augments that affect your vision, where you can see, like, thermal vision or night vision, like, pretty, like, on-the-fly type thing.
How do you feel about the speaking of customization and how you look? How do you feel about it, like them saying that what you wear is actually going to affect your gameplay, so you can't just run around naked?
I love it, because to me, again,
I love it and I hate it.
When they announced it was going to be so fully immersive, okay, it was like, okay, well, we live in a society nowadays, which is what you wear does kind of not define you, but people look at you different.
Yeah.
You're dressed like a homeless guy going into a bank. They're not looking at you like if you walk in wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah.
Right? So I like that fact that it's a real life thing that they're immersing you in, saying, hey, you know what? You're going into a corporate building and you're dressed in leather jackets with spikes all over them, this and that. You're not going to be looked at. We're trying to stealth through it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're wearing a suit going through. So I actually like that part, and it gives you that difference of playstyle you want to do.
I love it, but I'm also afraid of it because of how I like to dress up my characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's some outfits I don't like to take off.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be one of those ones where it's like, you know, if you play, as a street kid, for example, in that area and you're dressed all funky looking.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really going to have a lot of impact unless you're going to go do a mission.
Well, I'm saying
in
doing the mission in that corporate area. Sometimes there's those outfits that I just love. Like, they just do there's something about that one outfit I created.
Yes.
And I can't go stealthing into some of these things with some of my creations. I realize this, and it's hard for me to change.
But I like that though, because it makes you start having to think and try new things.
I agree.
You know, I actually really think that's a great little thing to make you feel more immersive.
Yeah, exactly. It's you have to consider everything, and it makes you draw yourself into that.
Well, because the worst part about having something that they're claiming is so immersive that it's that game you're going to be. That's how you're going to be living, for example, for a bit. It's like cool, I want to be immersed in this, but you can't do this, 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 or this.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but my guy's a partier. He wants to go get drunk, and I can't walk to the bar and get drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, if you're going to make it immersive,
if
keep
you
it
get drunk
completely.
before a mission, if it will have effect on that mission. That would be pretty cool.
It would be. I'm just using that as an example,
Yeah.
being like, if you're saying something's fully immersive and you're having romantic relationships, this and that, and then it's like, it subjugates things off. It's like, nope, we're drawing the line here. I don't like that. Like, obviously, there's certain things.
Okay? This is being, in my eyes, just like way too focused on. What do you feel about the romance? Like what people are focusing on. Thank you.
Honestly, I could care less. I mean, Mass Effect, you had romance and stuff like that. I know they're talking about the nudity and like clubs and stuff like that. But again,
like it's a sex simulator.
But this is a mature rated game.
Yeah.
So therefore, why are people focusing on it? It's the minor part.
Exactly. You're focusing on one aspect of the game. That means in the long run,
nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, whether it's there or not there. I mean,
if you're buying the game
Witcher
for
had
that,
it, but The Witcher had those scenes. And again, Mass Effect, you had relation scenes.
Yeah.
So what's the problem? If you're actually going to buy it for that reason, well, cool, you're going to up sales for them, but then you're going to have people bitching about this. See, well, again, it's a mature rated game, so you know what? This is what to expect. I have no doubt that they're going to add a filter on there because younger kids are going to want to play it, where it's like, hey, you know what? This is all going to be locked off, or it's going to be like, have the blur across everything, or this is going to take it right out, and there's going to be no one actually there. So I'm not really too worried or keen about it. I mean, it's a game. I think that adding these parts to the game make it more immersive again. I'm using that word a lot, but it really does make it more immersive.
It makes it more of a real world.
Yeah.
Games that keep it out, like I get it. You don't want your world to be tainted with that, but that's the real world.
It is.
And like the way Night City looks, it looks like what the future could look like under those circumstances.
That's what I mean, especially when you have like these classes, again, like the street kids and stuff like that, where you're around nightclubs, there's drug use, there's booze, partying all the time. Like, you're gonna see this stuff.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Take away from the actual immersion of it by adding nothing there at all? No. You walk into a club, there's a girl that's dancing, she's naked. Okay, cool. You just keep walking. If someone's gonna sit there and do photo mode, well, then they got issues. Like, it's pixelated artwork, people.
Very true. I agree with you 100%. If someone starts doing photo mode,
and they will. They most likely will.
Oh,
look, selfies with this one. It's like, come on.
They will.
Like it's just like watching cartoons.
It's attitude.
It is.
You know what I mean?
But no, I'm really excited about this game coming out. I'm just more excited to see how much of the hype actually exists in the game.
Yeah.
Right? Because so many times you've been hyped up with a game where it's like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then it's just kind of like mediocre.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know they've said that the gunplay, it's not like you're playing Call of Duty, but as you get along, like progress in your story, the guns get better and start feeling better, which is fine. I've said it before. You play multiplayer Call of Duty, the first couple guns you get, most people, not everybody, most people are like, they don't really feel that cool. But as you progress, you start getting guns that you're comfortable with. You should start out with shit, and then you work for what you want. That's the whole point of leveling up and progressing in the game. So I'm not worried about that. Back to the first person for a second. The melee kind of has me because that's always been one of my things is doing melee combat and first person. I've never been great at, but hey, no time like the present to learn how to do it, right?
It looks like you won't have that much trouble.
No.
Doing it, it feels like
that's what I'm hoping on, is that at least the feeling as you go carries over. You can, you kind of learn yourself. Because I said, Skyrim, I played third person. Not that I didn't like exploring in first person, but when combat came, it was always third person. Whereas Fallout, I didn't really do melee in, so I'm shooting, I was in first person. But I am really hyped for this game. I mean, the cars, the motorcycles, it looks really good. You got the NPC with Keanu Reeves playing a character in it, which is just great itself. The city looks phenomenal from everything we've seen. I'm really looking forward to seeing the size of the map, the different locations in the map, and just the outright gameplay and what you can actually do to your character.
I want to know the extent of the immersion.
Like, I want to know if you can walk around and all of a sudden you look like just a straight out Terminator. Which would be cool. But that's what I'm looking forward to seeing the most. And again, so many games come out where they're like 6 to 8 hour like longevity, and this one has 100 plus hours. They're saying
It feels like it's going to be one of those rare replayable
Not even that
games.
though. You know what? We've dealt with this so many times where certain games come out and they're not even worth the money.
Yeah.
They're really not. You know, you're going to spend
Agreed.
70, 80 bucks on a game and you're playing for 6-7 hours and that's it. 100 hours plus, cool. The Witcher.
I agree.
If it's anything like The Witcher, look how many hundreds of hours people put into
Yeah,
it.
I'm
right?
still replaying it.
That's what I mean. So I mean, that's what I have to look forward to, and I'm just hoping with something like that the game is as good as the hype goes.
Yeah.
I really am.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if that's it, if that's our little post-review, if you will, or pre-review, if you will.
Well, not really a review though, more just an impression.
An impression. Then, you know, I think until the 10th?
Yeah. Well, the 9th.
The 9th.
Maybe
Well, yeah,
digital.
the 9th. Yeah, true. I think the 10th would be preferable for most people now.
Now there's been so many delays on this game already.
Yeah,
It's
true.
about time it comes out.
But yeah, again, guys, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Tell us what you think about the game and what you're expecting.
And what starting point your guys are going to play with? Nomad, Street Kids, or Corporate?
Don't be a sellout.
Total.
All right, guys. Have a
a
good one.